Okay. All right. So now we are live. Anything you can, anything you do or say can and will be used against you, necessarily in a court of law, but somewhere. Just remember. Okay. So, looking at página 307, página 307, en el texto, at numbers, I know we covered it pretty briefly, well, fairly well, en clase el lunes. Okay, so if you'll join me on the Google Doc, I will add it to wherever you are. Okay, so I'll add it in the chat bar for you, and oh, it goes down every time. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Can bring it up anywhere. All right, so here is the link to the Google Doc. So we'll just do these numbers. I'll just put some numbers up here. Vita, go ahead and do the first number. Type out the first number from me.
Hi, sorry, I was able to hear you clearly before, but now I barely heard your last sentence. I heard Vita do something.
Do number 2. One, Vita, do number 2 on the Google Doc. So join me on the Google Doc. I put it in the conversation bar. Do you see it there?
I got a Google Drive notification that you shared something with me.
Okay. And then it's also on that yeah, because I add you in every time with your Gmail address. So, yeah, that's why you got that. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and I don't know if we truly have Nehemiah. Are you there, Nehemiah?
Can you?
Can you hear me, Nehemiah? Let me chat with him. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you kind of spottily. I can hear you now better than I did before. Are you traveling, Nehemiah? Are you in the car, in the van? Okay. Let me try going in my. Vita, are you able to hear me? I'm gonna go see if I can't get closer to my. Get going. Get your room going, honey.
Yeah, I can hear you. I moved to a spot, and I think I can hear you better in this spot of the house.
Yeah, and I have just moved too. I'm back where we normally are in the room with the router. So so hopefully between the two different changes we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, are you able to join the Google Doc, Vita? There you go. I see you. I don't know if Nehemiah is able to join as well. Okay, well, we'll do what we can. Oh, excuse me. So you go ahead and do the second one.
Do you want me to read out number 2 or something?
Oh, write it out. Write it out. Muy bien. 38,473. Muy bien. Perfecto. Okay. So, no es muy difícil. Now, what I really want to cover and go over is what we just barely started on el lunes. Okay. Saber and conocer. So go ahead and turn to page 308. Página 308. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay. Okay. So page 308. Saber versus conocer. Like I said, we briefly talked about this on Monday in el lunes, and saber versus conocer is much like ser versus estar in the fact that they both mean the same thing in English. We don't distinguish between knowing somebody and knowing a piece of information versus knowing how to do something versus knowing a subject or a city. Okay, so it's pretty basic. It's not too hard. So if we look at it, first of all, just looking at 308, the boxes where they have the conjugation. they're pretty regular verbs. They're both ER verbs. The yo forms both have an irregularity. Saber, excuse me, I don't know why. But conocer is explicable why there's a Z in there. And all verbs ending in CER in Spanish, the yo form in the present tense will have a Z in it. And it's to soften it. I know we briefly touched on that on Monday, was that now, and I just conjugated normally, we have conozco, conoces, conoce, conocemos, conocéis, conocen. Okay? And so they put that Z in there to soften it up. Conozco, conozco. So it sounds a little better. It softens, it really softens it up. You don't have your Spanish book with you right now. Okay, that's fine. I'll type them in here. So say, or Vita, you want to go ahead and type in conocer for me, the conjugation of conocer on the next one down. That would be great. So, yo sé, tú, sabes, usted, él, ella, nosotros, vosotros, sabéis, and ustedes, ellos, ellas. Okay. So say we'll have that. There we go. Okay. And this one is checking it out. There we go. All right. So now you can see it. Nehemiah, you're able to join us on the Google Doc. I don't see you so far. You're on the road. You going anyplace interesting? Okay, so we won't spend too much time in the book. So saber versus conocer. Okay, so we've got the conjugation up there for us. Yeah, the book would make it a little bit easier, but it'll be all right. Oops, don't do that. Okay, so saber, we'll just put it up here. Saber, I'll read it. The verb saber means to know a fact or to have information about something. It also means to know how to do something. Okay, yo sé dónde está el mercado. I know where the market is. Okay, it's a piece of information. I know where the market is. I know where Walmart is. I know where Target is. I even know where the Target is in South San Francisco. Okay, so it's just knowing a piece of information. Just knowing a piece of information. The doc won't let you do anything. Okay, so you can listen. Okay, and then you can go back and read it later. So, conocer. Saber is to know information or how to do something. So, facts, how to do something. Let's say, I know how to roller skate. I know how. How to do something, it's always going to be saber. I know how to whistle, not very well though. I know how to, my husband knows how to whistle with his fingers. My son knows how to make pretty designs in our grass when he mows the lawn. How to do anything. So it's always saber. Know any kind of piece of information. I know the date. I know Trump's address. I know the Prime Minister of England. I know his address. I know who he is. I know who he is. Like I know his name or her name actually right now. Since Brexit, it's no longer Tony Blair. It's a female that's taken over. And I don't know her name. I know it's a female though. So I know that my car is blue, and I know that right now, and I know that Vita's at her house right now. Well, I'm pretty sure I know that Vita's at her house, but just pieces of information about somebody. But when I know somebody, then I use conocer. Anytime you say you know somebody or even that you met them, this is people right here. Yo conozco a mi esposo. Yo conozco yo conozco al presidente, not the president of the United States, pero yo conozco al presidente del club, the president of the Spanish club. Okay, so anytime you know people, okay, if you know who a person is, then it's saber. Yo sé que Trump es el presidente. Okay, that's knowing a piece of information. I know who that person is, but if anytime I say I know them, that's so I'd say yo no conozco a Trump. I don't know. Yo no conozco al presidente Trump. I don't know him, right? And I don't care to know him. No es importante. But if I know who he is, I'm going to use saber. That's knowing a piece of information. If I know is, that's a piece of information. Yo sé que mi vecino, my neighbor, es Krista. Neighbor is Krista. Pero I know my neighbor, Krista. Yo conozco a Krista, mi vecina. I know her. I know who she is, saber. I know her, conocer. Okay. Same thing with the subject. Okay. I have studied Spanish for many, many years and practiced it and used it, and I taught it. And so I can say I know Spanish. Yo conozco español. Español. I know Spanish. Okay. Let me just write these sentences down. Yo conozco español. And I need my ñ in there. It is a spelling mistake. It's terrible. Yo conozco español. I know Spanish. Yo conozco San Francisco. I know San Francisco. I've been there quite a few times in my lifetime, driven around a lot. So yo conozco a Sacramento. Yo conozco Sacramento. I know Sacramento. I've lived here. He vivido en Sacramento por más que 30 años, more than 30 years. So, yo conozco Sacramento. Conozco Galt. Yo conozco mi casa. I know my house, right? Some stuff that you know really well. Say an astronaut, he would know science, right? Or an astronaut would know about the stars or know about gravity. Lots of things you can know about. So if you know intimately about a certain subject or a certain place, you're going to use conocer. If you can use to be acquainted with, yeah, I do. In place of to know, then you're going to use conocer. Yeah, I'm acquainted with the theory of relativity. You know, like I've studied it and I know it pretty well. I'm acquainted. I know what it is. Yo sé qué es la teoría de relatividad. Okay. I know what the theory of relativity is. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, I can tell you what it is, right? I can identify it. Therefore, that'd be saber. But if I've worked with it and I've studied it, then I know it. Yo conozco la teoría de relatividad. So it just depends on whether you know its identity or you actually know the subject matter. If you really understand the subject matter well of something. So, I mean, even if you're not an expert, you no tienes que ser experto. You don't have to be an expert. But if you can say, yeah, this past summer I studied Japanese verbs. Okay. You can say maybe you don't know all of Japanese really well, but you understand and you know Japanese verbs. Well, then you can say, yo conozco los verbos japoneses. Okay. I know Japanese verbs. I totally get it. I understand. I just don't know maybe all of the vocabulary or how to make sentences. Maybe you don't know the grammar, la gramática. Should be, it's pretty cut and dry. There aren't any, well, maybe this, maybe that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I know something about somebody. I know the facts. But if you know a subject, if you know something deeply, if you're acquainted with it, use conocer. Okay. So if you're looking at the examples in the book, of course, Nehemiah, you don't have the book. And I don't know about, just joined us now. Okay. So that was, yeah, that's the big grammar thing for the subject for this week. We'll get into the comparative and the superlative next week. I've already listed the homework, so hopefully you guys saw that. And then other than that, I don't want to get into too much more. I don't want to. So we need to know saber and conocer because this is part of what you're doing for homework. If you have, so if I say, we can go ahead and Nehemiah. So if I were to say a tu amigo, and Nehemiah, you can just write this in the chat bar. If I say a tu amigo, am I going to use or saber?
Conocer.
Conocer, right. And why is it conocer? What's that?
You shit on the call.
You know.
Are you not doing this? Do I have one?
No, you should never have a phone. Uh-huh. You should tell Dad.
You and Mom could do this.
Hola, Owen.
And me too. And me too.
No.
It's too cool.
Who do you think would get phones? Me and you, or you and?
And Dad and me.
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
Dude, you're 11. You don't get a phone. No.
Hey.
No. You don't go anywhere. You go to your Pokemon place like.
Owen,
I still haven't got any. How about you?
I hear all your argument with your little brother.
I haven't gotten any.
Thank you. Gracias. I couldn't get to the thing quick enough. Okay.
That was
So
interesting.
estamos. Yeah. He doesn't need a phone. You're right. It's the big argument, right? I bought one phone for my kids when they were like 10 and 12, and it was like, you don't even need it, but just in case we get separated somewhere, you guys have it, right? That's the quandary. Yeah, forever the quandary. And then they didn't have texting, and they didn't. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, been there, done that. Okay. 308, talking about saber and conocer, and I do have the Google Doc up, and I'll send the link to you. ¿Tu hermana está allí también? Your sister's there too? Owen? There's the Google Doc link if you want to join us there. Okay. So we're talking about saber versus conocer. I've already typed up a lot of the information on. It's what we're just finishing up what we started on Monday. Saber, to know information, facts, how to do something. Okay. So again, just clarification. Saber, info, facts, how to do something. I know your name, saber. I know my credit card number by heart. And that's a fact. That's a piece of information I know. I know how to use the fax machine. I know how to paint anything that will sit still long enough. I know how to hot glue anything that will sit still long enough. Yeah, that's kind of crafter I am. Okay, I know how to I know how to sew, but I don't care for it a whole lot. I know how to teach Spanish to little kids, or I know how to drive a car. Okay, those are all pieces how to do something. But I know Spanish. I know Spanish, and I know Sacramento. I know everything really. I know the city of Davis really well because I went to school there for 4 years. Okay, that's going to be conocer. Anytime you know something really well, whether it be a subject, I know Spanish. I don't know rocket science. Okay, definitely not a rocket scientist. So I don't know rocket science, and I don't know chemistry really well. I know a little bit about chemistry. I know what it is, but no conozco a química muy bien. I don't know chemistry really well. Okay, so now that we have other people with us, let's look at ejercicio 7, exercise 7 on page 309. Okay, and that's where we started. So saber versus conocer. Original sentences with saber or conocer, but I just want to know if we use saber or conocer. So we'll do one. Okay. Okay, so Vita said a tu amigo earlier. We said you would use the verb conocer. Okay, and you would use it because why is that a tu amigo there? Because anytime you do action towards somebody, a person, remember you have to have that personal a. It doesn't translate to anything. Yo conozco, so I'll make a sentence. Yo conozco a tu amigo. Translates what? I know your friend. It means I'm acquainted with your friend. The a means that I'm doing action towards a person. Friend was maybe a dog, then I wouldn't need it. Or if your friend was your little G.I. Joe figure sitting in the corner, then I wouldn't I wouldn't use a, right? Because they're not a person. Okay. So you could know G.I. Joe, right? But it's your G.I. Joe figure or G.I. Joe, the comic book character or whatever. Okay, so Vita take number 2, Owen take número 3, and you're sharing with Owen, so take number 3. Saber. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Owen take 3 and Emma take 4. Okay. So actually, oh yeah, there we go. So actually, that's a piece of information, Owen. Su número de teléfono. So I know what it is. It's a piece of information. So I would use saber. Okay, knowing a piece of information, a fact. Okay, I know that you're tall. Okay, it's a fact that everyone knows, right? So yo sé que tú eres muy alto. I know that you're very tall. I know that piece of information, so I'm going to use the verb saber. So number 3, your telephone number is going to be saber. Vita, ¿dónde vive? I know where you live. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be saber. Is Emma working on the paper with us, or is it just you, Owen? Nehemiah, you're funny. Sorry, Nehemiah. It's difficult for you to participate. What were the question marks for? Oh, there's Emma. Nehemiah is unable to join us. He's not on the paper and he can't get on the paper and he's not in the book. He doesn't have his book. He's traveling somewhere. So he's joining the likes of Emma, who's always sitting there busy doing Dora stuff. So Emma, you're number 4. Is it going to be saber o conocer? Su dirección de correo electrónico, your email address, right? $2.40. Like usual, como usual. Always at $2.40. We've been here, and we've been here all the time, Miss Emma. We've been here all the time. How do you usually join? Do you join by email or do you join by the invite? Okay, so Emma, just do number 4. So if you know someone's email address, is it saber or conocer? Yeah. Saber. Yeah, not sober. Saber. There we go. Okay, so Vita take 5, Owen takes 6, and Emma takes 7. Muy bien, Vita, conocer. Okay, so big clue. Anytime it says and then it has people after it, it's going to be conocer, always. So Vita's was a sus padres, your parents. I know your parents, always going to be conocer. Precio, the price. So you can't hear me? You can't hear me when I talk. Can you hear me when I don't talk? Yeah, it could be bad internet. I'm not sure. Okay, so precio is the price. So Emma? Okay. Lost in the dock. Oh, but you're still with us here. Okay. And Nehemiah, you're still with us? Listening to us Babylon? Okay. Okay, so Owen, is your saber o conocer? A toda la familia de José. All of José's family. Bien. All of his family. So obviously maybe José es tu mejor amigo. Maybe he's your best friend. You know all his family. Definitely got to be. Like I said, anytime you say people after the you know that you're liking somebody and therefore it has to be conocer. Emma, why are you all over the place and not answering your question? I'm gonna rein you in. Price would be saber. Conocer or saber. A Picasso, persona. Okay. Yo conozco a Picasso. Yours is going to be saber because you just know a piece of information. I know the price. I know how much it costs. So it's going to be saber. You know, pieces of information, fact, or how to do something. I know how to paint. Yo sé cómo pintar. I know how to paint. I know painting. So there's a difference. If I say I know painting, that means, okay, I know how to paint. I know all about painting. I know how to use the oils versus the watercolors versus the pastels versus, okay. So if I say I know painting, yo conozco. I know painting. But if I say I know how to paint, yo conozco cómo pintar. I know how to paint. Okay. So if I say yo conozco a Picasso, number 11 here that I've just typed, a couple ways. I either, obviously I don't know him, right? Está muerto. So I know about him and I know his works. I'm familiar. So yo conozco a Picasso. A dead artist, and you say, oh, I know Rembrandt, or I know name some other dead famous people, you know their works. Like I know Einstein. I know what his theories were. I know. Okay. So you can know a person that's dead, but generally it refers to life. So like if you studied Martin Luther King Jr., I know Martin Luther King. That means I know, the struggles and all the rallies and all his writings and stuff like that. So I've watched extensively. There's one college I know about, and maybe you've heard of it, Hillsdale College, and they do a lot about Churchill. They have a Churchill statue on campus, and they have a Winston Churchill class, and they have this dedicated area, and they do symposiums on Churchill. So they know Churchill. My Hangout hasn't stopped on my end. Can you still hear me? Oh, that's Nehemiah. Well, see, but Emma, they're separate. That's just the chat bar for it. So anyways, bar without seeing the video. I think there's something. Okay. Oh, okay. So you know somebody, you know about their works, you know what they've done in their life, you know about them, you know a lot about them, then you can use conocer. If you just know who they are, ¿quién es Picasso? I know who he is. I mean, I know he's a famous painter. If that's all I know about him, and that's all I know about him, then I can't say conozco. I can't use conocer. But if I know style and his works, and I can name, where I might find them or what kind of, paintings he did, then know him. Okay, so preguntas, any questions on that? Okay, so we had conocer versus saber. We worked on numbers just a little bit. And so yeah, 2:40, I posted it probably right exactly at 2:40. Try to send out an email, but I don't think I sent out an email because you guys generally don't join by email. So I generally don't send out the email to you guys. Okay, so no preguntas. I've already posted the homework. It's up and ready for your perusal. Just a reminder, guys, a reminder. Do everything. And someone brought it to my attention that if you use the app on a phone, have spell on it. Okay, so you'll need to either use a browser on your phone to actually do spell, or use a computer. You can do it if you like use Safari or Google Chrome or whatever browser you have, and you can. But spell, I guess, doesn't show up on the app. Finally let me know that. So, and I looked at it on my phone, and sure enough, it didn't have it. So okay, preguntas hasta lunes. You're cleaning up, huh? You're sweeping. Okay, adios clase, hasta lunes.
Why are you still on the chat? Okay, bye. Have fun.